Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning Blaque in once again to the Queen QueenAShakur TV show. Also, thanks to those of you tuned in on the original Queen QueenAShakur show and Authentic Black Goddess TV. I'm your host, Queen QueenAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. Excuse me. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Queen QueenAShakur. Also on Instagram at divine_goddess_27. And make sure you follow the Queen QueenAShakur fan page. All right. All right. Hello, Cherokee Descendant King, Jervis, Black Women Stand Up. Okay. M11, Conscious Outlaws in the House, Eileen, Byron B, the Dookie, Lloyd, Ladybug, Tamara, One Muscle Power is Black. I was just thinking about you yesterday, One Muscle Power. All right, Tamara, Courtney, Ryan. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned in. Hello, Filma Bell, Reginald. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Let's get ready to get into it, people. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen for a second. I'm going to share my screen for just a second. Hold on. Likes up, please. Like and share. Everyone, please go ahead and like and share the video. Hold on, hold on. Let me try this again. Mute my mic.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn I'm not. All right, Mr. O'Neill.
Okay. I couldn't resist. I could not resist. Okay. So anyway, so y'all know I have been sick with COVID, right? So I'm just getting over it. All right. So anyway, let's get into the news. Let's get into the news. So we have this plantation mammy, the first Black female lieutenant governor of Virginia. She seems to think that we need to get over slavery. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because you all know that they go out and they find these coons and buffoons and these plantation mammies and pappies. They go out and they get these people to try to make us feel bad for demanding reparations. That's what the bottom line is. Now, when she's saying we need to move on from slavery, she's saying that at the behest of her handlers, right? Her masses, because she doesn't want us talking about reparations. And that's what the whole gist of it is. Okay. If they want us to get away from slavery, why don't they get over everything else like the Holocaust, 9/11? I'm just saying. Nobody talks about that. They always say never forget. You know what they say about those instances? But they always want us to just get over from slavery. That's because they don't want to give you reparations, but give every other group reparations for everything else. So anyway, on Saturday, Republican Winsome Sears will make history in Virginia by becoming the first Black woman to hold statewide office when she's sworn in as lieutenant governor alongside governor-elect Republican Glenn Youngkin. Now, Sears will preside over the state Senate and cast tie-breaking votes that could prove decisive on her political priorities. And we know what her priorities are. Working for the white folk, not for us. Okay? So, with that all being said, she's doing the most already, as you can see. Now, the Jamaican born, and she's not foundational Black American. No, she's not. So we shouldn't expect anything less. So the Jamaican born Republican frames her success as proof that the U.S. is progressing when it comes to race. Isn't it funny how these people come here from foreign lands, like these Black immigrants come here, and then they start talking about how America is progressing as far as race relations is concerned. Meanwhile, they're still treating foundational Black Americans like slaves. That's what they're still doing. And they come over here and they want to get on the sole behest and team want to be white supremacy, begging for biscuits and try to put the rest of us down to make us feel bad because we still have complaints. Isn't that something? So anyway, a shout out for the super chat. I didn't see who put that in there. Hold on. Let me see. Let me get my chat moving. Let me get my chats moving. Rady King. Rady King says, glad to have you back, Queen. We missed you. But take all the time you need for yourself. Thank you, beloved. I missed you all too. Thank you for your kind words and your contribution. Okay. Lloyd says, all Jamaicans are not like that. Honey, I know. I have a lot of Jamaican friends, okay? Trinidadians, you name it. Of course, all Black immigrants are not like that. But sadly, there are some. And it's not just Black immigrants. We have foundational Black Americans who are coons and buffoons. Some of them, right? Like Herschel Walker and his son Christian. I'm just saying. We know that it's not all immigrants. But the thing is that the devils know that when they want to get someone to talk down on Black people, besides themselves, so we can't say it's racist, they get other Black people to do it. And a lot of times these people will be immigrants, because when they let the immigrants come over here, well, they don't treat them the same way they treat us. And that's all by design, right? They give them a leg up so that they feel better than us. And so they won't be in alliance or allegiance to us or with us. That's how that usually works. All right. So anyway, now it goes on to say, she says, I'm from another country and another culture. This is what Sears says. But here I am. I see racism as one more hurdle in life. Yeah, that's how she sees it. Now, the 57-year-old, I'm sorry, she's 57, but she looks a whole lot older, honey. I thought she was 67, clearly. The 57-year-old doesn't fit into a box. She fits into a biscuit box, if you ask me. But anyway, in her campaign literature, Sears is a gun-toting Marine Corps veteran who will banish critical race theory. Pay attention, honey. She's going all out for Team Wannabe Supremacy. She don't want you talking about critical race theory, move on from slavery, and all the key racist rhetoric points, talking points, is what she's spewing already. Says she will banish critical race theory from Virginia schools. Sears is a philanthropist, a former director of a homeless shelter, and a volunteer for a prison ministry. Now, she is a comeback story, they say. Someone who overcame a traumatic childhood, political setbacks, and family tragedy to come within one heartbeat of the governor's mansion. Please miss me with all of it, okay? So anyway, they want to tell this little downtrodden story. See, they're telling this story about her and saying these things to make it look like the rest of us just can't pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. You know, they tried to make her story one of adversity. She went through all these traumatic experiences, and she still got damn near to the governor's office or the governor's mansion. That's what they're trying to say. Meanwhile, the rest of you Negroes is just sitting here complaining and still mad about slavery. And that's what you need not be. That's basically what they're saying. Okay? So anyway, Sears plans to use her new power to address what she sees as a pressing problem. A country that undereducates its children and overtaxes its citizens, as well as a state unwilling to move on from its dark past. I'm sorry. Here's the question I have. How do you move on from a dark past when you haven't done anything to rectify it? Wouldn't that be a start? If you want to move on from the past, shouldn't you be trying to rectify it and try to level and equal things out? Wouldn't that be the first place to start? Then she says slavery happened. Absolutely. And there are some vestiges of it. But how long are we going to go back there? Well, honey, we don't have to go back there. You see, slavery is still right here, the prison industrial complex, and not to mention how they still treat Black people like slaves. I mean, the police act is full on slave patrols, stopping, frisking, where you going, where's your papers and all this and that. They still do the same practices that they did during slavery. So it always behooves me when, especially a Black person, says slavery's in the past, we need to just move on from it. Why are you still upset about it when all the ramifications of slavery still exist and still happen and affect us till this day? Black people still have post-traumatic slave syndrome. So what are they talking about? Make it all make sense. Anyway, they say it's an uncommon message for Black politicians in Richmond, the former capital of the Confederacy. Virginia has been shaped by centuries of racial trauma, from slavery to redlining. Democrats have been talking more about the lingering impact of those scars since racial justice protests rocked the country in 2020. For supporters like Bishop E.W. Jackson, a former GOP candidate for lieutenant governor who is also Black, Sears embodies a fiery Republican response to a racial reckoning that's gone too far, she says. A response to the idea that the U.S. remains rooted in white supremacy. Of course it does. Now, she says the people who traffic in that and benefit from that hate Winsome Sears, because this is what they say. These people hate Winsome Sears because she's the antithesis of that and proves that the thesis that America is a place of decency and fairness. Say what now? She's clearly delusional. If she thinks that America is a place of decency and fairness, for who? Not for Black people, especially not foundational Black Americans. Definitely not for us. So in her campaign, Sears ran as a pro-Trump underdog who lit up crowds with her speeches. Off stage, she remained deeply religious, listening to worship music as she crisscrossed the state. Her name recognition dimmed after 2 decades once out of office, and was propelled by the iconic photo of her holding her military-style rifle taken at a gun range while she was on a trail. Anyway, Sears has spent the last 2 months training for her new role, watching footage of the state's current lieutenant governor, Democrat Justin Fairfax. Democrats hold a 21-19 advantage in the state Senate, meaning Sears, like Fairfax, could break ties with the Democratic when the Democratic breaks ranks. The soon-to-be lieutenant governor's critics note that she came to power on a ticket fueled by racial themes. Taking a cue from former President Donald Trump, Sears and Governor-elect Glenn Youngkin claimed that equity programs in schools designed to address the systemic racism were pitting students against each other and painted an overly pessimistic portrait of the United States history. Let me tell y'all something. First of all, here's the thing. These people cannot stand to hear the truth of themselves and of their wretched, nefarious history in this country. They cannot stand to hear that. And they use these bootlicks every time they can get a chance to try to paint this picture that America is moving forward, it's so progressive. There's no need for racial tension. There's no more hatred. And all of this stuff is just a thing of the past. They use people like her to promote this foolish narrative. Now they go on to say, Ravi Perry, chair of Howard University's political science department, says, Youngkin and Sears' rhetoric misrepresented the reality of Virginia classrooms, where he says the history of slavery is still undertaught. He says it gave them a chance to harp on an issue that really does not exist. The rhetoric is not only divisive and tiring and exhausting, it's also inaccurate. That's not the only Trumpian talking point that Sears repeated on the campaign trail, mind you. She says, I guess people died to vote, or I guess dead people voted. This is what she told members of Fairfax GOP in February. She said they were making false claims of widespread election fraud. We Republicans have never been able to get our dead folks to vote. I don't know about y'all, but I have heard enough. I have heard enough. Lynn says she can go back where she fled. I'm over it. I'm over her. Absolutely. Here's the thing, though. Now, what I want to know is when these people come here and start talking like this and spewing this foolish rhetoric for the white supremacists, are they giving their biscuits before or after they get here? That's what I want to know. That's what I'd like to know. Are they giving the biscuits before or after they come? Conscious says, so she is true Jesus joker and proud of worship music. Welcome back, Queen. Thank you, beloved, for your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. And thank you all for your contributions and your kind words. But let me say this. Yes, Rico, in Virginia. Isn't that something? So have you all seen this plantation mammy? Have y'all seen her lately? I mean, first of all, she looks like Kizzy from Roots. That's for number one. October says she's so damn crazy. Right. She's nothing but a mascot for white supremacy. Shaking my head says y'all's chosen. Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell y'all something. This is why we can't get ahead. This is why Black people cannot collectively unify and come together, because you have these bootlicks who will be willing to throw the rest of us under the bus just so they can get a few coins in their pockets and just so they can try to achieve some sort of power so they can sit at the head of the table of wannabe white supremacy. At least that's what they think they're going to do. But that's never really the case. They're just being used as pawns, and they don't mind being used as pawns as long as they get those biscuits. Okay? Hey, Otis. Dark-skinned brother says exactly, Queen, facts and truth spoken. Thank you, beloved. Sean says, why this woman out here embarrassing us Jamaicans? Can't stand these Oreo cookies. Let me tell you something, honey. She's not only embarrassing Jamaicans, she's embarrassing Black people as a whole. Okay? Because when you have these type of Negroes, it doesn't really matter where they come from. Because a coon can be amongst any of us, right? You can be an American Negro. You can be from Trinidad, Jamaica, wherever. You can still be a coon and a buffoon. But the thing is that they continue to allow themselves to be used by team wannabe white supremacy. And at the end of the day, what they all fail to realize until it's too late is that sooner or later, they always get their nigger wake-up call. That's what they always get. Okay? We have a bootlicker lieutenant governor in North Carolina also. Very sad, honey. Very sad. Pearl said, Mr. Queen. Thank you, beloved. And I missed you all right, Black. Thank you for your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Okay, so anyway, it is what it is. Like I said, nothing has changed. These people don't want us talking about the true history of America. They want to shun critical race theory. And here's the true fact of the matter. They're not really even trying to teach critical race theory in elementary schools. K through 12. That's not what they're really even trying to do. They want to teach, or certain people want to teach just the truth of history, right? Critical race theory is taught in colleges. It's a theory. But at the end of the day, they don't want the racists, that is, and the coons and buffoons, they don't want the truth of American history taught. All they ever want to show is their depiction of history. And they want to try to act like everything has moved on. And, there's no need to be bringing up the past, because then when you bring up the past, you're the one that's being divisive. Never mind, this country has always been divisive. Never mind that racism has always been the main factor of this country. A whole system of wannabe white supremacy. And you see people who don't want that system to fall, well, they're going to do everything they can. They're going to fight tooth and nail and then try to make those who are complaining about racism out to be the racist. Isn't that how it goes? I mean, look at social media. They do the same thing. They don't want you talking about pro-Black things. They don't want you talking about police brutality. They don't want you talking about Black people being lynched and hate crimes committed. They don't want you talking about any of that stuff. When you do, you know how they act. They want to shadow ban you and all of that foolishness. Because the whole thing is to keep the system of wannabe white supremacy operating and in power and control over the people whom they choose to oppress, which is us. Now, so anyway, I hope this woman fails miserably, and I cannot wait for her to get her nigga wake-up call, because I'm sure she will soon. Now listen to this. So hold on just a moment, people. Let me pull up this receipt. Now listen to this. After the 5th trial, they had 5 trials for this foolishness. White Oklahoma ex-cop finally sentenced to 25 years after stalking and gunning down daughter's black boyfriend. Now, how crazy is that? Why did they have to have so many trials is my question. Hold on, this doesn't want to come up. Let me see if I can find it on Google. All right, here we go. Here it is right here. Now listen to this. So a former Tulsa police officer was sentenced to 25 years in prison after being convicted of killing his daughter's boyfriend. And this is all the way back in 2014. Despite being convicted of second-degree murder, the ex-cop maintains that he is innocent and acting in self-defense. Isn't that what they always say? Oh, I fear for my life. So the Associated Press said on Friday, January the 8th, an Oklahoma federal judge sentenced Shannon Kepler, age 61, to 300 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. I'm sorry, but why didn't he get life? Now, he was sentenced for using a firearm in the commission of a second-degree murder in April of 2021. A federal jury convicted Kepler and Jeremy Lake Slade. U.S. District Attorney Gregory Frizzle further ordered the father to pay restitution for a headstone for Lake, the 19-year-old who was shot and killed by him. Now, the 24-year-old police veteran said he shot Lake because he felt threatened, believing that the teenager had a firearm, he said. He has claimed for 8 years that his actions were in self-defense. However, police were unable to locate a weapon on Lake's person or around the scene of the crime. Witnesses also testified that they did not see the young black man with a gun either. So he was clearly lying. Kepler would also claim that his daughter had run away from home on the Muskogee Nation, one of the state's historic Native American reservations, and that he was nervous for her because she was at the time living in a bad neighborhood. Still, the court of law found him guilty, believing that he should serve time for killing the young man. Now, in a statement that was released on the DOJ's website, U.S. Attorney Clint Johnson stated that 19-year-old Jeremy Lake, almost died almost immediately after Shannon Kepler gunned him down in the streets in 2014. Kepler at the time was sworn to uphold the law, but instead made a series of decisions that led to a young man's murder. Now, they say today's 25-year sentence provides a measure of justice to Mr. Lake's family, though I know their healing will continue. The statement provided by Johnson's office detailed the circumstances around the murder, which differ from Kepler's original assertion. The courts found that Kepler took his 18-year-old daughter to a homeless shelter a week before the shooting and left her there after taking away her cell phone and leaving her with no change of clothes or money. Now, he then logged into her Facebook, where he noticed she had changed her status in a relationship with Lake. He used his access to police databases to research the boy's criminal records. He planned days after tapping into her social media to confront Lake at the address he secured from the police database. He put on dark clothes. Now listen to this, carefully calculated and clearly premeditated. So he put on dark clothes, got into his wife's dark car to go where Lake was staying, secured a loaded revolver in the waistband of his pants. He waited for him. However, after seeing his daughter approaching with the young man, he shot twice, hitting Lake both times in the chest. He then turned and shot in the direction of his daughter, Lake's brother, and as well a third person. Now, Judge Frizzle dismissed one of the assault charges against Kepler related to this particular incident. The bench noted that the statute of limitations for this crime had expired and thus would not be accountable for the violence perpetuated against Lake's brother. During the sentencing, Lake's father was afforded an opportunity to speak about his firstborn son, sharing that the process of securing justice has impacted his life emotionally and physically. Now, according to KJRH 2 News, the first trials ended in mistrials. Isn't that something? Here's the question. How did 2 trials, I'm sure they had to have had all white juries, because otherwise, how did they end in mistrials? The man sat there, lay in wait, went in the police database, first of all, abused his authority by going into the police database to not only check the man's records, but also to find out where he was staying and where he was going to be. And then lay in wait and shot the man and killed him. But they had 2 mistrials. Now, the jury recommended 15 years for prison in the crime. He appealed this ruling on the grounds that since the shooting happened on the Muskogee Nation's reservation, and he's a citizen of the tribe, Oklahoma prosecutors lack the authority to try him. So in November of 2020, he was charged with first-degree murder in a federal court, and the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals overturned the 2017 manslaughter conviction in March. Lake's death was days before that of Michael Brown, the 18-year-old black boy gunned down on the street of Ferguson, Missouri. Both teenagers were killed by officers and are said to have contributed to the launch of the Black Lives Matter movement in 2014. Well, you really didn't hear much about Lake's murder. Really, they got very little fanfare. So the devils are still out here doing what devils do. Vic says what they're trying to do is recreate America's history using non-FBA people to put out a fake history. Absolutely. That's absolutely what they're doing. And no doubt about that. The One Muscle Power says, we not playing. We really missed you. I got a little worried, although I know you're a soldier. Thank you, beloved, for your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. So listen, Pearlie says, I second that what One Muscle Power said. Thank you, beloved. Listen, let me tell y'all something, honey. Stupid 19 is no joke, okay? It is clearly no joke, but I still ain't getting that jab. That's what we're not going to do, okay? And I'm quite sure now I have antibodies built up, so. All right, but I'm feeling a whole lot better. But I want to give a shout out to Gravity Takeout, who also was sick with Stupid 19. He was actually in the hospital, and I believe his 6-month-old son has it now. So that's really sad. I feel sorry for anyone's child who has it. And then also shout out to Spitfire, who also was in the hospital with Stupid 19. Now, luckily, I didn't have to go to the hospital. I was just feeling a bit under the weather and very tired and overly fatigued and all that kind of stuff, right? But I'm so glad to be feeling better. Nessie says, I know that's right. Glad you're okay. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. B. Mosby said, I had Stupid 19, got over the next day. Well, honey, good for you if you got over it the next day. You must have a hellified immune system. Okay. Crystal says, did you have a fever? No, I never had a fever. I never had a fever at all. I just had like body aches, cough, body aches, cough, headaches. That's about it. Yeah. And the fatigue was the worst because I literally felt like I couldn't do anything. I was so tired. All I wanted to do was sleep. Okay? That's all I wanted to do was sleep. Conscious Outlaw says it's unconstitutional. Also mandates. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for your insight and your contribution, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings to you. So Ray King says, glad you're back, Queen. Thank you, beloved. And I'm glad to be back. Honey, I miss y'all just as much as y'all miss me. Trust and believe. Okay? So now, just so you all know, I want y'all to listen to this. Whole Foods says that its First Amendment rights will be violated if they're forced to allow employees to wear Black Lives Matter insignia. Y'all might want to think twice before y'all go and purchase anything from Whole Foods. So they say Whole Foods has claimed in a court filing that the U.S. was attempting to violate their constitutional rights by forcing them to allow its employees to wear Black Lives Matter insignia while they're at work. Now, attorneys for the Amazon-owned grocery store chain, y'all do know Amazon's racist, right? Yeah, they are. But anyway, the lawyers for the Amazon-owned grocery chain made the claim in December on the December 17th filing, responding to the National Labor Relations Board claims that Whole Foods illegally barred employees from wearing Black Lives Matter masks at work. Now, they want you to wear a mask, but they want to tell you what kind of mask to wear and what you can have on those masks. Please make that make sense. Okay, so Bloomberg, which was the first to report on the filing, obtained the document through a Freedom of Information Act request. Now, in the filing seen by Insider, Whole Foods accused NLRB's general counsel, Jennifer Abruzzo, of attempting to violate the company's First Amendment rights by trying to compel speech. She says, by singling out the phrase Black Lives Matter, the general counsel is impermissibly favoring and requiring that WFM favor certain expressions of political speech over others in its retail grocery stores. This is what the filing said. Now, the general counsel seeks to compel employer speech by WFM in violation of the WFM's rights under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, and enforcement of any order of the board to compel such speech would violate the Constitution. This is what the filing says. The filing was in response to a complaint that the NLRB made in early December. Now, in a statement to Insider, a spokesperson for Whole Foods says its dress code policy was designed to ensure that we're giving team members a workplace and customers a shopping experience focused entirely on excellent service and high quality food. They said, we do not believe that we should compromise the experience by introducing any messages on uniforms, regardless of content, that shift the focus away from our mission. So in July of 2020, a group of employees sued Whole Foods, claiming that the company forbade them from wearing Black Lives Matter masks at work and threatened them with termination if they did. That's clearly racist. Here's the thing. If you're not wearing anything that's vulgar or has profanities on it, on your mask, on your clothing or whatever, why would they even care? You know why they care? Because they're racist. That's what that is. Because I guarantee you they would have no issue with people wearing masks that say Blue Lives Matter, all lives matter, right? White lives matter. They wouldn't have a problem with any of that. But if it says black anything, it's always a problem. Pay attention. Now, in October of 2020, Whole Foods announced a new dress code for all its workers in its stores that banned visible logos, slogans, messages, or flags of any kind, among other things. Now, in a filing in early December of 2021, the NLRB accused the Whole Foods of violating federal labor laws under which workers have the right to engage in concerted activities for their mutual aid and protection. In the December 17th filing, Whole Foods argued that workers' rights to participate in collective action did not include promoting BLM messages. Black Lives Matter is not objectively understood to relate to workplace issues or improving workplace conditions. That's what they said. Anyway, these people continue with their foolishness. They continue with their foolishness. Mr. Mystical Black Realm says, we truly love you, Queen QueenAShakur. Thank you, beloved. And I truly love you all right, Black. Thank you for your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Yes, they are absolutely delusional. Nubian Kinpo says, vitamin D. Vitamin D3 is what you need. Thank you, beloved. You know I had some, right? Okay. Byron says, I thought there was no statute of limitations on murder, Queen. Oh, there absolutely isn't. There isn't. But they let the devils get away with all kinds of stuff. Pay attention. Whole Foods. Hold on, this chat's moving kind of quick. Hold on. Whole Foods got all that cheap knockoff brand. Yes, they absolutely do. Cheryl says Aldi can keep that slop, especially if they got a problem like US. But they're in love with my money though. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And see, okay, clearly we have a troll. Hold on, people. Hold on. I see someone wants my attention. I see someone wants my attention. And so anyway, with that all being said, honey, let me tell you something. At the end of the day, you know, it's always a problem. Like I said, it's always a problem when someone wants to wear Black Lives Matter insignia at work. Then they want to say it's political and all of that. They don't have any problem with you wearing Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, any of that. It's always Black Lives Matter. And that just goes on to further show how Black lives really don't matter in this country. And this country is still full of racism and wannabe supremacists and stupid, ignorant, dumbass, racist people. And we're going to always have that. But at the end of the day, that's why Black people need to come together and collectively unify and stop spending our money with these organizations and corporations that don't care anything about us. Because we're the ones making them rich foolishly. We're the ones allowing them to build generational wealth off of our backs. And we need to stop doing that. Support Black-owned businesses. Buy Black. All right? Buy Black, support Black. That's what we all need to be doing. But you know what's funny about that, though? When we start talking about supporting Black-owned businesses, then they want to say we're racist. Isn't that something? The nerve. Anina says an LGBTQ mask, no one says anything. Exactly. And that's the thing. No one should even care what mask you wear or what your mask says. They should not even care. But they do when it's something about Black people. It's always an issue with us. Yes, Buana says America is racist. Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning Black in once again. And please make sure you like and share and subscribe to the channels. Make sure you click the notification bell and click the word all. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at QueenAShakur. Make sure you follow the Queen Shakur fan page. And I hope to see you all later on today for your daily wake up or for your daily vitamins. All right. With that all being said, thanks everyone for all your kind words, thoughts, and prayers and all of that. And those of you who emailed me and all of that, I appreciate you. And I miss you all and I love you all. So I'm glad to be back. With that all being said, I will talk to you all later on today. Please do something productive and constructive, never destructive. Stay high vibrational and motivational. Each one teach one. And at the end of the day, please make sure, people, that you're taking care of yourselves, that you're doing the best that you can do to keep your immune systems boosted. Because we all know these variants is going on around here, honey, and all kinds of stuff is going on. And what they're not talking about is how a lot of these people going around here with these jabs are getting these breakthrough infections and spreading it to other folks. They're not talking about that. Okay, so just be leery and make sure you're doing your due diligence and taking care of yourself and your health, because it's very important. All right. With that all being said, I love you all and I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful day. And I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.